What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Substitute Preacher Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Johnson, aka the Substitute Preacher. This is my first guest in person. This is my brother, that's why. But I'd like to introduce Bodie Jack. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm Jack Bacigalupi.
Yep.
I met Zay at City, and shoot, we linked up. Like, we just clicked like right away. We were lockers right next to each other, and we've been dogs ever since. But yeah, I grew up in San Francisco, and I'm a man of God, and been playing sports my whole life. Niner fan, Warriors fan, Giants fan. So, born and bred here in the city.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. We went and hooped today. So that was a lot of fun. Good to get back out there. You're kind of just getting back.
Yeah.
This was my first time hooping in a minute, so it was a good time. I'm sore. I know.
Yeah, I'm sore too. I'm limping around.
We getting up there in age,
Yeah.
so. All right. Real quick, I'm going to throw out a few names, and Jack got something in common with them. I'll let him share the story. 50 Cent. Gilbert Arenas, Meg the Stallion, Jack.
All right, look.
All of them got shot and survived. Jack got shot recently. What happened, my brother?
I thought you were talking about my rap career. Nah, I got shot on Halloween. So I got shot in my leg. So this was the first time we played basketball together, but this is the first time I played like full court. I've been playing half court. So like I'm kind of getting back, but still got a ways to go. But this is what happened. So it was Halloween. I picked up my buddy, and we went to the gas station. We were leaving the gas station. Someone cut me off hella bad, and I didn't honk or anything, but I almost crashed into him. And so I I tried to pull up on them to like say something like, hey, what was that? Or whatever. And, they were playing games. It was like they were swerving over, like not letting me. They saw I was trying to pull up on them, and they were like brake checking me. And so my buddy in the passenger seat, he goes, I'm going to throw the Gatorade at him. So finally they came to a red light, and he threw the Gatorade out the passenger window, hit the car. I turned around and tried to dip, but I wasn't getting away from him basically. And so I was kind of just driving around the block a bunch of times, and they wouldn't let it go. They like swiped me. I kept going. Finally, I had to go through this intersection. There was a car. I went around the car. I had to slow down, and they rammed the back of my car. Ooh. So then I knew, I was like, oh, I got to get out. Like, I guess this is how it's like, I got to handle this. And so like pulled up again, boom, they rammed me again, and then pulled up in front. So I'm like wrestling with my seatbelt, trying to get it off. And the dude came out the passenger seat like that. Like he was on my door. He tried to punch the window. Boom, he couldn't break it. But so then my door was unlocked. He opened it, and he tried to fire on me. And basically, like, I was still wrestling with the seatbelt, but I like kicked him off, and like I pushed his face with my foot, and then so he like backed up. I slammed the door. I didn't lock it, and I tried to drive, but it was still in park, and so I was just revving right there, stuck.
Man.
And then by that time, the driver came out, and they're both pulling on the door, and so I'm like holding the door, and most of you probably don't know, but I drive a smart car. It's a little tiny car, little two-door, and it's a little plastic handle, cheap little handle. So I'm holding on to it, and they can't open the door. And finally, like I feel like it's gonna break, and so I just let go. So they kind of both fell back, and that's when I turned. I finally had my seatbelt off, and I put my feet on the ground, which isn't far away because the car is so low to the ground. And I tried to stand up, and they both started hitting me. And then so I'm like pushing the dude off. I got my feet on his arms, and I like pushed him again. And then he backed up, and he pushed the door all the way. So he's like breaking the door, right? And so that gave me a chance to get out. And then so like I square up with him, and I'm like, "What's up?" And so he like swung at me once. Boom, I ducked it. And then he seen I was kind of big because I got out the little tiny car. And then he's just backing up. Like he got his hands on his head like this, and he's just backing up. So finally, he like his like left foot like stopped on like a tire. So he was like backed up against the car. And so then I just boom caught him, boom,
Bam.
and then he like stumbled, and I was like, "What's up? What's up?" And I'm thinking, like, you know, you go your way, I'll go mine. That's it. And I mean, that's not what he had in mind. He was like, "I got something for you." Went back to the car, and I pulls out a silver gun, and I was like, "Ah, damn." And so I'm just standing there, like I walk back to my car. We're like, I don't know, 15 feet apart. And he's standing there, he's pointing at my chest. He's like, "What's up now? What's up?" And then I'm just standing there, and I was thinking, honestly, like, I didn't think he was going to shoot me, right? I'm standing there, so I wasn't afraid, because I didn't think he was going to shoot me. And so then he's like standing there, he's thinking, I'm watching him, and I'm like, "So where do we go from here?" And he shot from the hip like this, boom, like wanted type of stuff. And I think he was just trying to scare me. He ended up hitting my leg, my lower leg. I don't know if I can show you guys. Oh, I can show you, but you can't really see. But there's a little
healing up
here.
Yeah.
And then it came out the side of my foot here and stuck into the bottom of my other shoe.
Wow.
But yeah, when the bullet hit, I thought he missed because it happened, you know, it's so quick.
That adrenaline.
Yeah, and I heard it hit my shoe. I heard it hit the ground, so I thought he missed. And then, so like I'm looking down, and I see the blood's pouring out my shoe, and I'm like, "Oh damn!" And then I look back at him, and his pause, but he his eyes got hella wide, and then he just got in the car and dipped. So it seemed to me like he didn't want to shoot me. He was just trying to scare me. He ended up hitting me. But yeah, the dude got away. They never caught him. But honestly, like as soon as I got to the hospital and everything, like I finally calmed down. Like it wasn't that painful. So it was like you know, you get to experience it. So I got shot now. I can tell people that. Like, I got shot. It wasn't that bad. It didn't hurt that bad. I recovered pretty quick. And like as soon as I got in the hospital, I realized like, you know, it could have been way worse, and like I could have got hit anywhere else. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's better places I could have got shot, but I got shot in a place that wasn't that bad, and I'm fine. So it's good.
Yeah, and like you said, there's for sure a sense of gratitude. And we could joke about it now, but obviously a scary situation. When you hit up the group chat, like, and just bluntly, you was like, "Hey, I got shot." Like Trayvon, me, we was ready to roll up. Me, an hour away. He lives in San Francisco. I'm in Manteca. So I'm like, dang, do I gotta get up out there? But the first thing he said was, "I'm okay." And I was in bed. So I'm like, man, I'm going right back to sleep. Cool. I'll update me tomorrow. But couple things we can learn from that. One, don't judge a smart car by the size, because he got up out of there. The dude made a mistake, even though he kind of got you he clipped you.
Yeah.
But obviously road rage is, you just never know what can happen. It is never worth it. So it's funny, we had the situation some years ago. We'll skip that one.
You want to skip it? We could tell them.
All right, we could.
I mean, it's really not that long of a
story. Yeah. You could go ahead, talk to me.
I'll tell them. Yeah. So I like brought it up because so many people were like, "Man, you can't get mad at people and do this and that," because, you know, like obviously like people that care about me, and they're like talking about, you know, like, you could have died and all this. Of course, I could have died, and of course, like, that's my New Year's resolution. I didn't have one, but now I got one. I'm gonna chill out on the road rage. That's the one thing. Like, I'm a patient person. I don't get mad often.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that bothers me is people driving. So I'm gonna calm down on that. That's my New Year's resolution. Thank you, Jay. And then, so this is what happened. Because I brought the story back up, I had to tell somebody, like, we've done like stuff like this before, and it happens all the time. Like I ran into a crazy person that shot me. You know what I mean? But anyway, this is what happened. We were driving to get food. We probably played basketball that day. Whatever we did, I don't remember what. It was around Christmas time, and there was no parking in front of the place. Of course, we're in the city. Like, there's no parking. Zay, he's driving. I'm like trying to tell him, give him directions, and tell him where to park at the same time. So he's like going slow, but there's a red light anyway.
Yeah.
And we're like halfway through the block, and the dude's honking, and he decides to go around us and do the most, and he's like looking at us, yapping while he's driving by.
Yeah.
And he's with his girl. You know, of course, he wants to show out in front of his girl. So, of course, we meet him at the next light. He makes the right-hand turn. We meet him at the next light on what? We're on Valencia. And so it's a 2-lane street. So we pull up right next to him, and then he's all like, what? And the passenger window is down. So we're just like, and I don't remember what we were saying, but something like, you're a clown, whatever. We were just trying to ignore him. And so Zay's like, hey, watch this. He grabbed a little pen in his, whatever, the cup holder.
Yeah.
And he goes, right as he drives off, he just goes, in their window. So this,
and it got him, pegged him.
Sets the dude off. He's hella mad. So Zay makes the right hella quick because he was already, like, he threw it and drove. And then we were just laughing. And then, so we ended up making that right. And then I'm like, hey, go right here.
I thought we lost him. We went right.
It was a one-way.
A one-way coming this way.
So he went down the wrong way on a one-way. So the dude didn't want to go down. So all of a sudden there's a car coming up. So Zay pulls in the driveway and reverses and then goes back. So we think we lost him. And then we pull up and he's just sitting right there. And he's like, hey! So they throw like a water bottle and hit Zay's car. And then we ended up like, Zay was dipping and we got trapped behind like 2 cars.
Yeah,
so it was like, damn. So then like we had to just stop right there and we basically got out the car and the dude's like hella mad. He's in Zay's face talking. And then his girl's like trying to dump some stuff on the back of his car.
Yeah.
And Zay was like, hey, like grab whatever was in her hand.
I would never hit a woman, but yeah, I took it from her.
And then that's when the dude he tried to get physical with Zay, and Zay just freaking chokeslammed him like the Undertaker, like on the hood of his car. And
it was kind of dope.
Obviously we were trying to like settle it like whatever, and they were just like going off. They were hella mad. And they're like, we got a Christmas party to go to.
Yeah.
And it's like, so why are you chasing us around? Why are you doing the most? Like, it's Christmas time. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
We tried to calm it down, and he just escalated it. Then the girl was trying to do the most, trying to mess up Zay's car.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he ended up getting chokeslammed. And that was it. Like, no punches thrown.
Yeah.
The dude got slammed on the car, and then he was like, okay.
I gave him a little warning. It was a natural instinct. I wasn't trying to hurt nobody, but he touched me, so.
Yeah, he didn't even get hurt. He just got scared.
Yeah.
And then he was like, all right.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was Merry Christmas. We went on our way.
That was it. So now let's go ahead and introduce the topic. Ironically, we're talking about influence today. We're both positive influences. I promise you we'll get into that shortly here. But this series has been great. We've been talking about identity, and we'll kind of recap in a little bit just some of the different facets of identity, especially in you younger people, as far as overcoming isolation and insecurities. And again, today is kind of that next phase, influence, right? And we're all impacted by influence. So really quickly, I'm going to just give the definition, and then I picked Jack here for a specific reason. I just kind of want him to dive into some of his influences and how he's been able to kind of stay on a good path and influence others. So the definition here is the capacity to have an effect on character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself, right? And we all kind of have a sense of what influence is. So as far as you, Jack, like most people think influence and they think influencers on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, social media, and we all watch them and they, whether it's them teaching us something or encouraging us, motivating us, that's the positive side of it. And then there's the negative. In high school, peer pressure, right? Influence, kids trying to lead you down a wrong path, do drugs, drink, whatever the case. So for you, Jack, you when we first met, and I was kind of in the same boat, but it became evident really quickly that you didn't drink or smoke. Have you ever drunk or smoked in your whole life? Anything?
No, never. Never smoked anything, never drank anything.
Okay. So was that kind of intentional? Like, talk about that. Like, when did you make that decision? Like, I'm cool off that stuff. And what went into that? What was the motivation behind it?
The decision, I'm not sure exactly when I made that decision. I remember like in high school is when I had the opportunity to like drink and smoke. I know my friends were smoking and stuff like that, and I just always thought smoking was bad, especially for like playing sports. But it was influenced because, I mean, the reason why, there's a few. I feel like my dad was a great influence on my life. He would always tell me, you always lose with Mr. Booze. And I always knew, like, I mean, let's see, my brother and my dad. My brother used to drink, and I used to see him, and he's like the nicest guy ever. But when he drank, he would get mad, and he would just be a whole different person, and I didn't like that. And same thing with my dad, like nothing crazy, but you know, it would just change him, and he would just be meaner. So it would be like whenever anything went down, like between family wise, it was always because somebody was drinking. Like if there was like a problem, if me and my brother were gonna get into it, we would never fight. But the only reason we would ever get physical was if he was drinking. And I knew I didn't want to act like that. And I knew, like, when I saw, like, just knowing my dad and like how good of a man he is, and like what he's like, the example he's given as a father and as a man, like I know that when he drank, which is not often, he doesn't drink often, but I know when he drank, he would just be an angry person. And I didn't like that. I didn't want to be like that, and I never wanted to be like that. And I mean, that's just drinking. I never liked it. I never liked how people changed. And, you know, I was always just okay with being myself. And then, like, smoking, that was a whole nother thing. Like, I hated the smell of cigarettes. I hated the smell of, like, anything to do with it. Like, I hated how people would smell like that. And I know, like, my mom used to smoke cigarettes, like, when I was growing up. So, like, when I was in elementary and stuff, she doesn't smoke anymore. And I know when I was a kid, I used to always smell that, and I hated the smell, and I would, like, try to hide my mom's cigarettes or hide her lighter. Or, like, and I always hated, like, you know, I would want to give my mom a hug, but I didn't want to when she smelled like cigarettes because I hated the smell of it.
Wow.
So I think that was, like, that's part of it, like, growing up. And then also, like, I grew up going to a Catholic school and like being in church all the time, and like knowing that I shouldn't be doing that. And so that was part of it too. And then also like playing sports, I knew that wasn't good, you know, it wasn't a healthy thing to do. So I was always trying to be like healthy, like I mean, not necessarily, like I was eating like junk food and stuff like what kids do, but I just knew that smoking and drinking were bad. And, like, I've never drank coffee either, and I always thought that was, like, a real bad thing. But part of it is because growing up, like, I knew my uncle used to smoke cigarettes, like, 2 packs a day, and he would drink, like, 2 pots of coffee a day. And he had a heart attack. He had a triple bypass. He's still alive now. He changed his whole thing. He don't smoke. He's, like, eats hella healthy now, and, like, he lost hella weight. It's crazy. But that was, like, a big influence, too, and I actually kind of just forgot about it until I started talking about it. But that was like one thing that changed like how I wanted to be as a man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the reason. And then like even today, so what, I'm 32 now. And like, of course, I get it all the time. Like, people don't believe me that I've drank or that I've never drank or never smoked, or people are always offering me to drink or offering me to smoke. And like, I think it's easy for me because I've never done it. So I don't want to like hate on anybody or like try to say I'm better than anybody.
Of course.
But it's easy for me because I've never done it. So I don't want to ever do it. I don't feel the urge to want to drink. I don't feel the urge to want to smoke. Like, I do wonder sometimes, like, what I would be like if I was drunk, or how I would act, or how it would feel to be high.
Probably worse road rages for sure.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure I saved plenty of money on freaking alcohol and weed and all that, but that's pretty good to think about, I guess.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And that's good stuff. And like Jack said, I mean, some people drink or smoke or do their thing in moderation. Like, hey, you know, that's one thing. But you definitely see it in younger people, the impact it has on them. And even, again, just kind of going back to the definition, it has an effect on your character and your development or your behavior. And typically it's not a good effect. And so for you to kind of stick to your guns, and that it also ties back into the identity topic. You know your identity. You can confide in yourself and kind of stick to your own laurels and use that as a tool to just say whatever to the peer pressure, whatever. And I even, you know, us, our guys and everything, we'll joke and, here, Jack, you know, but you never really, you never crack, you never fold. So that's one thing everybody respects about you. And I was in a similar boat. I can't say I did what he did, though. I've cracked a few times, but but yeah, same type of mindset. Like, in high school, I was cool. Like, I wanted to play sports. I was serious about it, and I said, I'm gonna leave that stuff alone. I'm gonna leave the parties alone. Leave certain crowds alone. You know. So again, we're all different, and doing something like that isn't. There might be 10-15% of people who can say they've done that or maybe try and do that, but yeah, again, that's special. So salute to you for that.
Right on.
What as far as like positive influences in your life, like, who are some of your role models? I know your parents, and I personally know them. They're great, so I know that the influence they've had on you. But you know, can you speak to that, and if there's anyone else?
Yeah, my mom and my dad, for sure. I mean, my mom is like the nicest lady, and she's like the most giving person, so that's definitely worn off on me. Like, I try to share everything I have, and I mean, I've definitely got that from her.
Yeah.
My dad, he's a quiet dude, and I'm pretty quiet unless I'm around my friends. Like, so Zay wouldn't think I was quiet, right? But like, when I'm meeting new people, like, I'm pretty quiet. Wouldn't consider myself shy, but just I kind of keep to myself. And like, you know, I like hanging out with my people, and that's kind of how my dad is. And like, honestly, like, I always knew my dad loved me, but we never talked that much until I started playing rugby, which was like my senior year in high school. And that's when he would take me to practice on Treasure Island. So it was like, if you know the traffic, right after school, he would take me. So it'd be crazy traffic. So it'd take 45 minutes to get over there. Ooh. And he would wait at practice, watch me practice, and then take me back. And so we would spend just time, like, and I'll play my music for him in the car. Like, just like he, you know, when I grew up, he was playing all the music, right? And we would just talk. And that's when we really, like, built our relationship. And, you know, he's just a great dude. Quit drinking, stopped smoking. And, like, when he had kids, and he's just, you know, worked his whole life to take care of me and my brother and my mom. And yeah, he's always been there for me. And that he's like he's shown me a great example of, you know, being a father and being a man. And
absolutely,
obviously, he was a great influence. I mean, I have other influence. Obviously, God, right, has been like the greatest influence, and he's done so much for me, and he's put me in so many great positions, and that's like like I could think back to when like the dude had the gun on me. Like I knew, like I just felt like I'm not gonna die here. Like he's not gonna shoot me. Well, he's not gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And because I just thought like, God got a plan for me, and I trust God. Like I know I'm not gonna die here.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wasn't afraid. And even if I did, I wasn't afraid because I know that God got me.
That's the peace that God offers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to make up no fake influences, but I mean, I could look at my friends, like even Zay, like he's a great father, and like I have a lot of great people around me, which is awesome. Like I love that about like the people that I have around me it's such a great circle I have, and I'm just blessed, honestly, like with the people around me, and like my parents and my family and everything.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of awesome influences, and obviously like getting to know your family and your parents too, like they like opened my eyes to I mean, obviously my parents have been married a long time too, but it's like it's awesome to have a friend and see like his family and how they do things different too, and like there's not just one way to build a family and build a marriage and have children. It's awesome. So
yeah, most definitely good stuff. So again, kind of the first episode of the series was just based on being comfortable alone and isolated and really finding yourself in kind of that stage of life. Can you think of a point in your life where you had to deal with, whether it's overcome, or I know you're a little more introverted, so a stage where you were more isolated, and just kind of how it made you a better man and a better Jack?
Yeah, right off the bat, I mean, I'm thinking everyone would probably think of like COVID, right? Everyone was kind of isolated.
That's a good one.
And definitely, like I went through some growing. Like I actually went through like a breakup right before COVID, and like so I was hella down. Like I felt alone. Obviously, I had my friends, but we weren't supposed to see them. Everything was taken away from me. Couldn't go to the gym.
Yeah,
I always play basketball all the time. Always work out. All of that was taken away. So I felt like I needed to put my energy somewhere, and I felt like, I just worked out at home, and that's what I did, and like focused on myself, and like, I did a lot of stuff alone, and it felt good, like, because I've lived with, like I grew up in a room with my brother. We shared a room until he was 18, and then, even then, like, I was living with my parents, and then finally I was living with my brother again, and then Brian, Shalom,
the whole list.
And then there's so many, but
yeah, we'll talk about that too.
And
go ahead.
And so like I've been living with so many people for so long, and then when COVID hit, I was by myself, and it was so weird, but I actually like eventually liked being able to like have my own place, and like obviously I love. It's so much fun living with your friends. It's just so much fun. Like me and Zay used to live together. We used to wake up and play video games and just talk trash all day, and then go play basketball, and then come back and play more video games. You know, like it was just so much fun. But then it's like finally like I'm by myself, COVID, and it's like I'm not even working. Like I'm just working out, and that's when I was like in the best shape of my life. Like, and I don't know, it was I enjoyed it, and now I get my own place, like, and I don't have to worry about cleaning up after anybody, and that's like the cool part about it too. But it took some time for sure, because like I had been living with somebody that I could always like talk to at any moment.
Yeah.
But like it helped me be able to like do stuff independently. Like I don't need to have Zay living here for me to go to the gym. Like it took me some time to realize that like I can't wait on somebody else to want to go to the gym with me. I can't wait on somebody else to want to go play basketball with me.
Yeah.
I just got to go to the gym, and I can't just keep hitting up everybody in my phone like, hey, you want to go? Hey, you want to go? And then I'm waiting on them all day. Like I just got to go. And so yeah, I mean that definitely, I mean, made me be more independent for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people really, I mean, naturally, a lot of people are going to struggle with COVID. Obviously, the uncertainty and the just there's so much to unpack with COVID. But we were all kind of forced to be alone. So, I know for me, I enjoy being alone, and with my story, like it's something that I had stages where I felt alone, but I was able to, especially through my relationship with God, enjoy it and come to like really, really enjoy it. So for me, it wasn't that bad, but I know a lot of people struggled. So glad that kind of helped you and you overcame it and now enjoy it. So good stuff. And this will kind of tie into the next aspect as well, but being typically the only guy who doesn't partake in alcohol and any type of drugs, do you ever feel alone or like kind of left out in that regard?
Nah, I've never felt left out because I always feel like, I mean, I guess when everyone's taking a shot, I do see that.
Sure.
Like everyone's taking a shot and I'm just standing there like, But I mean, I don't feel like anybody's leaving me out. Like that doesn't affect me like that.
No, good.
It's just like, oh yeah, take your shot. I don't care. Like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just not saying cheers, right?
Yeah.
But it's whatever. I feel like I know how to have fun being sober. And I'm comfortable in my own body and
for sure,
and comfortable in who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And exactly, yeah, that comes with just like you said, being comfortable in who you are. The next kind of phase or aspect is insecurity. Do you have like any, and again, you don't have to get too deep or personal, but can you tell the audience about any insecurities that you had that you were able to kind of overcome at any point, teen or just growing up?
When I was growing up, I was like a chubby kid, so for sure that was like an insecurity of mine, like my body. Like especially like with like this everything you see on TV, you think you got to be all ripped up and like abs and all that, and like obviously like just being a everyday dude, like you got to work. You can't be in the gym to be cut up like that. It's crazy. So it's like a crazy expectation, and like obviously I'm comfortable in my body now, and like
and you've worked for it too. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean that takes a whole lot of discipline and time, and you go through ups and downs, injuries, all that stuff, and you got to start over. And I've never had a problem like starting over. Like it's happened to me. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I've had the other surgery from the bullet wound, and like I've had to start over so many times, just different injuries. And shoot, I broke my back in high school and
spinal.
And like that took like a whole year to recover, and I had to sit out while everyone's playing football, basketball, all this fun sports. I had missed my whole junior year of sports, and so that like stunk. But like, it never got me down. Like I always knew like I had to keep going. I had to keep pushing, and like also I knew God had my back there too. Like there's a reason this happened. There's a reason I got hurt. There's a reason I broke my ankle when I went to City. There's a reason after I broke my ankle, I came back and tore my ACL, and I had to sit out a whole nother season. Like I met so many great people, like Isaiah right here, like, and so many more, like that'll be in my life forever. And I just knew as soon as like I built those relationships, I knew why that happened. You know what I mean? Like I felt like this is why God put me through that struggle, and this is what he wanted. These are the people he wanted me to meet, and these are the people that he brought into my life on purpose.
Yeah.
So I could build a better relationship with him, because that's when I really started going to church. Is when I got to City, when I started going to Vika's church.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, like, my relationship with God, there's all ups and downs and everything, right? And like when I was younger, like I kind of stepped away from God and like thought like was questioning it, you know?
Yeah.
And then like meeting all you guys at City, like it brought me closer to God. And even now, like I feel even closer every time. Like I go to church with you sometimes, and it makes me just feel awesome, like knowing that like what I built at City, like all the relationships I built at City, like how it's helped me grow closer to God.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And the next episode, which actually was already recorded, but I'll be releasing that one after this, that's kind of we sum it up with our identity in Christ. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Again, those are just kind of the aspects that you guys will deal with in regards to identity, finding yourself, right? You have to be comfortable being alone. If you can't be by yourself, then what's the point of even having self or having identity, right? Just be like someone else. That don't make sense. And then the insecurities, we all have them. Overcoming them is how we can find comfort and beauty in ourselves. We're all we're all special and we're all unique, and it's about embracing that. So again, once you can embrace those things, being alone, embrace your insecurities or overcome them, then you can you know who you are, and you're able to influence others. You're able to kind of overcome peer pressure and things like that, and take in the positive influences. So it's just kind of my 2 cents on that. One thing that and you may not even realize it, but I'm sure you do, but just your influence on others is pretty cool, and you're a very impactful dude. Obviously in my life, you're like a big brother to me, but so many others. You kind of touched on it, but talk about the different roommates you've had, and you mentioned your mom too. Like, she's so giving. His mom like makes dinner every night for the whole neighborhood, it feel like. But no, regardless of how many people was staying here with Jack, he opened up his doors to them. Again, I kicked it with him. We had a good time living together for a brief period. But regardless of who was here, like, she was very giving and would make dinner and invite anyone in. And I know that's kind of where you got that, but just kind of talk about that, having roommates, letting dudes in.
pause.
Pause. But at City College, one thing a lot of people might not know, JUCO ball is just different. Like, there's no scholarships, there's no on-campus living. And so we was getting cats from Florida, from Texas, Ohio, all these different states coming out here, and they didn't really have a place to stay, or they didn't have money. And it's not like there's scholarships and there's food provided. It was a struggle. And so Jack opened up his doors to a handful of cats and let them stay in here. So I'll let you kind of talk about that a little bit.
So the first person was Brian. And we were hella cool. We got the same birthday. That's both of our dogs.
Yeah.
He's like 3 years older than me. So he was kind of like, he always took things a little more serious. But I remember like he stopped playing football, and I hadn't seen him in like hella long. And I was walking by, maybe going to like towards practice or wherever I was going, and I saw him at the lunchbox at City right above the field, and he was just eating by himself. And I was like, "Yo, Brian, where you been?" And he's like, "Man, I've just been grinding, doing my schoolwork. Like, I'm not gonna." I think it was like probably spring ball, so we were just working out. And I'm like, "Where you been? What are you doing? Like, you're not playing no more?" He's like, "Yeah, nah, I had to stop. Like, I'm just focusing on school." and he was staying in his car in the reservoir, like at school.
Yep.
So I was like, bro, just stay at my house for the semester. Like, it's all good. And he was like hella hesitant. He was like, I was thinking about asking you, but I didn't know. And I was like, man, of course. Like, you're my boy. Like, come through. So he brought all his stuff, and we shared the room. And then I guess word got around.
Yeah.
And so Shalom and Martin, both my brothers to this day, like my guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't see them as often. Martin's in, I think, Minnesota now, and Shalom's up in Washington. But they got kicked out of their house where they were staying at. And so Martin called me up. I actually wasn't that close with Shalom. He was so quiet, quiet dude. But once you get to know him, kind of like me, like you just get to know him, and he's more energetic, and like, he ain't a quiet person. But Martin, we were hella close, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, can me and Shalom like stay at your place?" And I'm like, "Damn!" So then it's gonna be me, my brother, Brian, Shalom, and Martin. I'm like, "Damn, that's a lot." But so I was like, thinking about it. I was like, I mean, of course, like I just don't really know Shalom, so that was the only like hang up I had. I was like, I don't know him like that. Like, would he be cool with like moving in with me? Like, but anyway, they both moved in, and like they brought all their stuff, and we're all basically like sharing a room. And like I had built a loft bed, so I was staying up on top. And like we had like a giant bean bag that somebody would sleep on. We had a couch underneath my loft bed, and then we had another couch that people would sleep on. And then eventually, like Brian ended up going out and sleeping in the hallway sometimes, and I always felt hella bad about that because it's cold as hell out there. And like, of course, like when me, Martin, Shalom, we're all in there playing video games, like Brian's trying to sleep because, he's trying to take his schoolwork hella serious, unlike us. He would go out and sleep in the hallway. I always feel hella bad. But he wasn't really tripping off it.
Yeah. He had a roof, so.
Yeah, he was like, he knew what he had a goal in mind, like, and he's there, doing his thing. So. We got to play that dude in street, but anyway, that's a whole another thing. Yeah. That's another thing. And then after that, it was Chance got kicked out of his place, and so like I always was hella cool with Chance, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not making it to practice because I'm staying in the North Bay, and like it's rough." And so I was like, "Hey, just come stay with me." And that was after. I think Martin was staying with me still, and Shalom was gone. And then Brian had left too. So then it was me, Martin, and Chance, only for a little while. Then Martin left, and then it was me and Chance. And then Izzy.
Musical chairs. Izzy,
I mean, Izzy was always over here.
Yeah,
but he was never really staying here. Vika stayed here for a little while. Justice would always be here too. And then Izzy I had never met this dude. His name was Houston. I had never met him, but he was playing at City. And Izzy was like, "Yeah, he's getting kicked out of his house. You think he can stay with you?" And I was like, I knew you had something in mind. I knew it wasn't just, hey, this guy's a cool guy. Like, but Houston, that's my guy too. That's like my brother for real. Like, he came here. He's from New Zealand. He didn't have a place to stay. He was getting kicked out of his spot. He was gonna go back to New Zealand, and so he moved in with me and Chance. Eventually, like, everyone has gone back home, and then since then, I mean, Zay moved in after he got back from Rutgers for a little while. He was working in Alameda.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan was always here every night with Chance. There was Alu, my guy. And then, other teammates would come and spend the night.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I think one night we had like 7 people spend the night, like crazy. And then my boy Ja Ray was the last person to stay with me since. And then when he moved out, that's when I was like, that's the first time like I had been by myself since I was like ever. And it was so weird, but yeah, I mean, I touched on it earlier that it was so weird for me to not have somebody to just be able to wake up and talk to, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going, but
Nah, well, and we should have been keeping count, but that's a hefty list. That gotta be like 12, 15 dudes. So, and yeah, you just kind of open up your heart, displaying that generosity you learn from your parents. It's a beautiful thing, and like I said, I appreciate the influence you've had on me, and all those other dudes have been. I was gonna say touched by, but all those dudes have been impacted by you, so appreciate it. I know they do too.
yeah, I'm gonna have like when I get married, it's gonna be like hella groomsmen. Like
Yeah, for real.
I'm gonna need more than one speech. I'm gonna need like at least two people gotta give a speech or something. I don't know. I gotta. That's all I want.
Nah, that's good stuff. Just kind of transitioning. We'll have a little fun with this. The first time, so again, Jack's like my best bro. Yeah, we kick it all the time. We hoop. We're usually on teams dogging people. But when we're here, it's business and it's war. And, you know, we have a great relationship, but we play a whole bunch of different games. Really, anything we play is competitive.
It's on.
It's on. So the first time, I mean, besides like, you know, in the football environment, and I don't even know if you remember this story, but the first time I like was the word. The first time I was exposed to your competitiveness, because I'm really competitive, but so are you. The first time I really noticed it, we had that Madden tournament. Do you remember that?
Yeah, at Brian's?
At Brian's, yeah. And we were talking, like, we were talking smack the whole, you know, leading up to it. Back and forth. And we played. You remember the results?
I mean, I think you won the tournament.
I clapped you. I don't remember. I don't remember if I won it. I think I might have lost. Or maybe I had to leave.
Didn't play. Hey, whatever.
No, we played and I dogged you. I skunked you.
That's crazy.
But the funny thing was, like, and it was all jokes and fun, and I'm winning and laughing and clowning him. But he was dead serious and like mad. And I'm like, oh, this dude really don't like to lose. And it was like after that, like Jack must have in his head like vowed to never lose to me again at anything. Cause any little game, any little thing we played, video game, whatever, board game, like it was like he just wanted to murder me. And it's ongoing till this day. We have the collection here.
Come on, let me show you.
Yeah, I'll help you out. It's so bad that we
got these trophies.
This dude bought these trophies.
Years in the making.
Years in the making.
The Bino goat. That's Blitz. The other one's Street, and that's the Russian Attack Madden.
Old school games, board games, whatever. We got the PS2. We about to get it cracking after this. Where did you get that competitiveness?
Shoot, I don't know. I've always hated losing my entire life. I honestly don't know where it came from. I'm sure my dad was just as competitive.
Yeah.
But I hated losing. That is something that has driven me. I don't like losing. I lost so much growing up just playing like CYO. Like teams, like we would just get smacked.
Yeah.
And like even when I played, in high school, like I think when I went to Reardon my freshman year. Mm-hmm. We went 0-9 freshman year. And then I played my sophomore year. I think we won one game. We were like 1-8. I don't even know. And then I missed my whole junior year. And that was probably the most winning that was happening in my football career, right?
Dang.
And I missed all of it, right? I didn't play. And then my senior year, I don't even remember how many games we won. Maybe like 2. So I've always hated losing. And
Yeah.
it was like not enough to like, I wasn't like getting on teammates or something. You know, I didn't think I was like that.
Yeah.
But
No, you're a good teammate.
But I hated losing. And once you start winning, like at something like, so when I started playing rugby, our team was so good.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the championship the first year I played, and we ended up, the team, we beat them in the regular season. They beat us in the championship. And it was devastating, right? I was so hurt. But that was like the most winning that I've ever done with like an organized team. And like once I got a taste of that, pause. Like
you got addicted.
Yeah, damn near. And then when I was playing rugby and I got in such good shape, I was like, man, I think I could play football again. You know, and rugby was kind of just like the side chick, right? And so I went back and tried to play football, and we ended up winning like hella games. But for City, I think we lost 2 games our freshman season at City.
We did
2 games, right? So for me, we won 8 games? We lost 2 or something like that. And for me, that was like the most winning I've ever done on a football team, right? So I'm hella excited, but it's like a disappointment because we're at City. It's like a different, it's a different thing. It's a different
standard,
level. Yeah, it's a standard. And the next year, we didn't lose a game until the championship, and like that was the most winning I've ever done, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even like anything, like I grew up at the park playing basketball like every single day. I had an older brother, right? He's 22 months older than me, so almost 2 years, but he's only a grade above me. So him and all his friends, I would always play against them, but it was me and his friends, right? So I was a late bloomer, so I was always short, and I hated losing to them. And I knew like, so that helped me build my skill because I knew I had to do extra stuff to score
win
over a taller defender or whatever, anything. Yeah. So I was always driven to like, I never gave up. You know what I mean? Like playing against a bigger, faster, whatever. I would never give up. I always wanted to strive for victory, right? Because that's the best feeling is victory.
Yeah.
And I know people always say that too. Like athletes always say like, winning it doesn't affect you as much as losing does. Yeah. So I've lost my whole life growing up, and that was like the thing that drove me probably was just losing so much.
Yeah. And that was actually kind of my next question, but like, there's the saying or question that is, which is more like, do you hate losing, or do you enjoy winning more? Like,
I mean, it's got to be hate losing. I love winning though and laughing at people. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I know like especially certain people like obviously like Zay, me and him, we play all the time, so like it's fun like beating them and laughing. But like certain people that you don't get to play that often, like Brando, it's so funny when he loses and just gets hella angry. I know you when you do beat me, which is rare.
It ain't that rare.
It's really rare. I'm telling you, I'm on a 30-game winning streak.
Nah, that's one game.
But when he does beat me, he just be laughing. And I'm like hella mad.
You get so mad. So go ahead.
But it's like it's so, because it's like everyone, I swear, all my friends, they want me to lose. Like everything, they want me to lose because I win so often. And that's not even talking trash. It's hella funny because when I do lose, everyone's getting on me like, ah!
Me too. I get the hate too.
Not even.
Maybe not as much, but I do. I was gonna say, like, my philosophy behind it. So I love winning. Like, it's an incredible feeling. I don't mind losing, and again, you've been on some really bad losing teams, like you mentioned in high school, and then college. You experienced some success. For me, I've experienced it all. Like, I've been on some bad teams when I was at Rutgers. I've been on some, really elite teams in whatever, high school or at City College. When I played basketball when I was younger, we were pretty good. I was on a really bad team. Mixed bag. For me, a loss, like, I don't I don't mind it as long as like there's more games to play. So like if we're playing and I end on a loss, like I'm gonna be mad. I hate it. I hate it. So that's where it's like I probably hate losing a little more than winning. However, like if if I know we have another, if I lose and it's like, all right, I always got next game. That's my mentality. And so when I win, like I enjoy it, but I want to run it back, like because I want to win again. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. But yeah, it's again we have fun with it, but we mean business too. So
yeah,
in about maybe 15 minutes we gonna we gonna bust it out.
Pause. But
go ahead. You had anything else
I was
on that?
gonna say losing affects me way more. Like it changes my mood for sure. Like winning, obviously it feels good.
Yeah.
But losing, I could tell. Like I know I'm mad.
Yeah.
And I hate losing when I know I should have won.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing that bothers me the most.
Yeah.
Like if we're out hooping and we're playing against some weak dudes.
Yep.
And we lose to them, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
And then I'm like, damn, we gotta wait 4 games.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
That's rough. Hey, we went undefeated today.
Oh yeah, most of the time we're winning. There's not many people that are
most
beating
definitely.
us out there.
And that's why it makes losing so much worse because you're so used to winning.
True.
So, we'll kind of wrap this thing up. You're a Bay Area guy through and through. So am I. I moved though. I'm in Manteca, Stockton. I'm in the Valley now. But you're all Frisco. So there we have it. Just we're gonna talk Bay Area GOATs. We always joke and say we're the GOAT of whatever game or so and so. I got a lot of titles in a lot of these games.
You don't got any titles.
They're
a
all
GOAT here at my house. If he won, he would have took him home.
Nah, I let him borrow.
Nah, he's crazy.
The GOAT. We're gonna talk GOATs of the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay, whichever one you want to make it. So I'm gonna just give you a category, and then you tell me who you think the GOAT is. Okay. So we'll start off with the GOAT team. So you have a bunch of teams in the Bay. You want to go professional sports. You got the Warriors. You got the Niners. RIP the Raiders. They still consider Bay to me, but they're gone.
They already out.
The A's leaving too. We got the Giants. The Kings. Nah, I'm testing some of y'all. Some of y'all say Sac is the Bay. It ain't the Bay. If you want to go college though, you got Stanford, you got Cal. What is the GOAT team in your opinion?
Man, it's got to be, for me, it's got to be the 49ers, right?
Okay.
I'm a Niner fan, grew up in the city, right?
Yep.
My dad grew up loving the Niners. I used to watch football with him. I remember watching Steve Young get his last concussion and retire.
Wow.
So it's got to be the Niners.
Yeah.
And then obviously I think it's just more the nostalgia, right, of the 49ers and the kind of like, I don't know, it's more like the red and gold is like you see like the old school Niners stuff and it's kind of just like sticks out to me. It's classic. But and I feel like if I were to say the Warriors, because I do love the Warriors so much, and and obviously we won so many championships recently, and like I feel like it might be blasphemy. I feel like I don't know, someone might come after me if I say the Warriors, being a Niner fan, right? But.
Nah, I get it. I mean, it's your preference, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Historically, like the aura of, and I don't even like the Niners. Y'all fans are annoying. But they got 5 Super Bowls. Okay. What about a Bay Area rival? So it could be a rival of a team.
Well, who's the biggest Bay Area rival? It's gotta be LA, right?
Yeah, that's LA. A good one.
I mean,
Dodgers.
Also, like the Raiders too. Niners-Raiders rivalry.
That's big time.
I mean, so much violence has come from that. So I guess it would be that. But now it's kind of.
But then they both were in the Bay too, so it's kind of split. But I like the LA one. That's the Dodgers. We hate the Lakers.
The Dodgers for sure. The Lakers. I mean, Clippers don't count.
Don't count.
But the Rams, like, even I know my
Yeah.
dad always talks about it. Like, he hates the Rams.
Yeah.
Like me growing up watching football, I hate the Seahawks just because of watching them.
That rivalry.
Yeah, and but like obviously like, and I think the Niners are on like a 12-game win streak, so that rivalry isn't like a regular season win streak, but that rivalry doesn't really stand out to me like the Rams, but definitely like Lakers. I remember watching Kobe growing up and like hated
Kobe. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
He's a legend. I love Kobe now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Straight up.
Like, I love watching his old highlights, his old like interviews he did. That dude was different. But yeah, same. Watching it, he would kill the Warriors too.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and he tore his Achilles against the Warriors, and I remember he didn't. Harrison Barnes was guarding him, didn't foul him. I was watching the game live. Did not foul him. He just tore his Achilles and fell. And I was so pissed. Obviously, I didn't know he tore his Achilles at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know how serious it was. But they gave him the call, and I just remember thinking they always giving Kobe the call.
Yeah.
But I mean, that just goes to show how great Kobe was, right?
Yep.
But yeah, obviously the Lakers, the Dodgers, to me, is probably the biggest rivalry. I know it's like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Going to a Giants-Dodgers game is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, F the Dodgers for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's pretty serious. Obviously, I mean, I think that I've been to a few Raiders-Niners games, and those are kind of crazy. You can get violent pretty quick. If people popping off, it'll get started quick. So
yeah.
You got to be, I mean, those ain't happening that often anymore.
Yeah, true.
So, obviously, the stadium's in Santa Clara now, and then the Raiders are in Vegas, so
yeah,
it ain't really like that. But I was going to it at Candlestick, so.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. What about the GOAT rapper or artist?
The GOAT rapper or artist?
Singer. I mean, you got E40, you got Nicotina, you got Too Short.
I say my
Mac
favorite.
Dre.
I say my favorite is Andre Nicotina. I wouldn't consider him the GOAT. That's my favorite.
Yeah, nah. And that's what I want, like your preference.
Yeah, so my favorite would be Andre Nicotina. I just listened to him growing up and had all his music downloaded on like FrostWire or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had it on my little Zune or whatever that I got hand-me-down from my brother. And I could only fit 80 songs on there, and like 77 of them were Andre Nicotina.
Wow, yeah. Nah, he's a Frisco legend, so okay, that's a good one. What about a song? So it could be, yeah, I mean, obviously from one of these Bay Cats, but you got a Nicotina song, an E40 song.
I mean, the song first song I heard, Andre Nicotina, very first song I ever heard was Jungle by Andre Nicotina. It was my favorite song.
Okay.
I always still listen to it to this day.
Yeah.
Dope song. Check it out. I know most of y'all don't know about it, but Andre Nicotina Jungle slaps.
Y'all East Coast cats, look them up.
Yep.
Check it out. Mine would probably be, mine would probably be Blow the Whistle. That's a classic. Short and
what do you think about the pushback on Too Short? They say he ain't from the Bay.
I ain't really heard that.
Oh yeah?
Nah.
Well, then I have to
What's
get
up
into
with
that? I guess. Yeah. I mean, they say he's from ATL. They say he be hating on the Bay, and
really,
I mean, he be shouting out Oakland though. So I don't know where the hate's coming from, but at the same time, I know Messy Marv was like talking mess about him. He made a whole song dissing Too Short, how he doesn't give back to the community or whatever.
Dang.
But shoot, I don't really know too much about it. I didn't do the research. I was just asking if you might know.
Nah. I'll have to look into that. I'm not caught up. I don't really listen to as much rap as I used to. But, okay.
Blow the Whistle is probably the song that most people would know outside of the Bay. Mm-hmm. Maybe, shoot, I wouldn't know because I'm from the Bay, but maybe Tell Me When to Go would be one of the songs that
that's
people
up there
would
for
know,
me. Yeah.
Like outside.
That's one of the classic bangers.
And Drake shouted out Mac Dre, so hella people outside of the Bay kind of hopped on and figured out who he was. And so, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. What about your favorite food spot or restaurant in the Bay? I mean, the Taqueria is right down the street. It's all smacking. But do you got a spot? And recently, we be sending each other a bunch of food spots. You be venturing and checking them out. Do you have a favorite let's go favorite food and then food spot or restaurant.
Favorite food, I can't pick just one.
Yeah.
Favorite food's got to be, I like Indian, Italian,
Ooh.
Mexican, right?
Okay.
Top there, I'll give you a 3, right? So my favorite spot to get like a burrito or quesadilla got to be right here, El Farolito on 24th Street. Bomb.
That's
Fire.
mine too.
Right? Hella bomb.
Fire.
My favorite spot to get Indian food is the Dancing Yak.
Oh,
Butter
yeah.
chicken. It's my death row meal. If I was on death row, that's what I would order. I haven't found a great Italian place, but you know my mom is Italian, so she cooks it up, and I just love that. A good chicken parmesan.
Oh yeah.
Oof, bomb. I know that's Italian American, but I am Italian American, so stop hating. I know they don't
We'll count it.
technically serve that in Italian
Yeah.
restaurants, but it's not traditional Italian. But that's my favorite thing to eat, and I'm Italian American.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
I got more. I could keep
Those
going.
are special. And then lastly, just like entertainment or like fun things to do in the Bay.
Fun things to do in the
What's
Bay.
like your favorite thing? I mean, I know we hoop, we go to all these gyms out here, but what about like, do you like concerts or what type of
I'm not a big concert
entertainment?
person. I mean, going to a Warriors game when we actually went for my birthday last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Chase Stadium is crazy.
Yeah, it's dope.
It's awesome. And then like I also bike a lot, and biking across the Golden Gate Bridge is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like San Francisco is such a beautiful place, and like I grew up here, so you kind of take it for granted. People come here from all over the world to visit and check it out and look at it, and you kind of take it for granted. But when I'm riding my bike, listening to music, you kind of like breathe it in, and I try to not take it for granted and look at it for what it is. I live in such a great city. I know like San Francisco's been getting a lot of hate recently, but it's a lot of people that ain't from here that be hating on it. So
Yeah.
I'm from here. I love the city. It's my home. And yeah, stop hating.
You heard him. All right. Those are some good, besides the Niners, I think I like all those things.
Come on, man. You deep down, you like the Niners.
I like some of their players.
You respect the Niners.
I respect some parts, some things.
Just because you don't like the fans, you can respect the team.
Some of the players, but yeah, it's love. As a former football player myself, we played in college. There's always that respect. Going to war, putting your body on the line. So, yeah, that I won't hate. That being said, my last couple of questions are sports related. Like we said before we jumped into this, we could talk about sports all day.
We were having a conversation. We sat and talked for like 30 minutes about sports earlier.
Yep.
I was like, man, we should turn this thing on.
Exactly. So, and we're doing that. We're jumping on Izzy's channel soon. We already tried. We got to get that on. Izzy.
He was talking nonsense. He
was talking crazy. But yeah, so we'll definitely put that out on here so you guys can see that. We'll go more in depth on some of these topics. But just briefly, as we kind of wrap up the show, in your opinion, my question for you, Mr. Niner, what will it take for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl this year? It's some good teams out there, but it's kind of open.
What will it take? So I think we've beaten all the best teams in the NFC, right?
Yeah, dominated.
So we should be able to replicate that in the playoffs. We got home field advantage. We beat the Eagles at their house.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Cowboys number if they want to run it back. I think Detroit isn't on our level. They're a good team. I respect them. But I just don't think they can beat the Niners. I think with the pressure we can put on Jared Goff, and he kind of folds under pressure. I mean, typically.
He does.
I don't think
Shout out to Jared Goff. He's a Bay Cat.
True.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like Jared Goff.
Yeah.
But I think we got to clear, like, if everything goes right, no injuries. And
that's huge.
Obviously, taking care of the ball, and our defense does its thing. Like, the defense has had some holes, so you got to definitely not saying we're, like, guaranteed to be in the Super Bowl, but as long as some crazy stuff doesn't happen, we should be there. And, I mean, we're only going to face one AFC team, and I feel like I don't know. The Chiefs have been weird, and I would love to see them again. Not just because they've been
They're
playing
vulnerable
bad.
now. Yeah,
No,
I get it.
Vulnerable,
They got y'all.
But yeah, they beat us in the Super Bowl, and
yeah,
I want to get that one back. But obviously, the Ravens beat us in the Super Bowl too.
Yeah,
I mean that's a whole. It's Harbaugh, so it's like the same thing. But obviously, it was Flacco, and it's a completely different team, right?
Yeah.
But Lamar, they just beat us, and I feel like, obviously, we turned the ball over 5 times, 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
And I feel like the game, especially in the beginning, was still a close game. Even after he threw 2 picks, and we were still in it even after he threw the 3rd pick. And I'm like thinking, like, man, if the Niners if we had 3 picks, like this game would be a blowout right now. So obviously the defense kept us in it, and obviously Christian McCaffrey too.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes we got to run the ball against the Ravens, really.
Yeah, and Christian was running hard. I mean, he always does. He's my favorite running back. But you can't run the ball when they're starting to kind of escape with the lead. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I feel like if we see them again, we'll get another shot at it. Anything can happen in football. Obviously, they beat us, so they're confident going in. But I feel like the Niners should be confident with all the talent they have going in. Seeing them again, I think they'll be ready this time. And Brock, he doesn't let that type of stuff faze him. And it's crazy because he's so young, but he just doesn't let that those type of things. Like, came back the next week and he played his butt off. So,
yeah, I think it fueled him for sure. So, I'd love to see that. And this ain't bias, this ain't nothing. Lamar, he's been like my favorite quarterback, even going back to Louisville. My boy Eric Wave, shout out Wave. We've been talking about this going back and forth because he wasn't a believer. But Lamar is my guy, so I really want to see him win a Super Bowl. But yeah, Niners versus Ravens, that would be dope. Yeah, so I'm all for it.
There's a conspiracy theory. They showed the
colors, right?
Colors.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying all that.
Yeah.
But it would be a great Super Bowl regardless. It was a great game. I mean, it wasn't a great game. They smacked us for Christmas Day.
Yeah, I think that's the one everyone wants. 2 best teams, head and shoulders. I think they've pretty much dominated the competition. So, I mean, and honestly, in the AFC, I'm rooting for the Ravens, but I don't really see a team that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, the Browns, they're hot right now. Flacco's balling, so that'd be interesting. Yeah. But I don't see another team in the AFC that would really pose a threat like that to the Niners. I mean, the Browns beat them, so that'd be fun. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, their defense is good, and just like the Ravens, their defense is good, and that's what gave us problems. So.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll have to wait and see. That's the beauty of the playoffs. Yeah. All right, last question. This is dear to my heart too. How did the Warriors fix this? Whatever they're in, it's been a rough season. They're maybe just under 500 right now. Lost the heartbreaker to Denver. Barely beat the worst team in the league, the Pistons. How do you think they fix things and get back on track?
In order to fix things, we gotta first thing, we gotta call up Adam Silver and tell him we gotta play the Pistons 20 times this season.
Hey, I'm with it. Let's do it.
But I'm not off on the Warriors this season.
Neither am I.
We got a lot of talent. We just gotta put it in the right place. And I feel like, damn, it's weird because last season we had the best starting lineup in the league.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know what's going on. I think maybe the Jordan Poole thing had a lot of effect on it.
Yeah.
But now our bench is getting us leads, which is crazy. And it's like, I mean, obviously it has a lot to do with Chris Paul coming off the bench and also now Wiggins. But there's a lot of talent on this team. I feel like this team, I mean, is even more talented than the team that beat the Celtics in the finals. Like, if they put it together.
Yeah,
right?
I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, obviously Jordan Poole's not there, and he's very talented.
Shoot, if we were getting the same Wiggins, he's been on the decline. But...
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Wiggins, but he was best friends with Jordan Poole, so that might be, he's in his head about something.
Yeah. No, but I feel you. I think this team in general, like the we have more depth. The bench is a little better. Really good, young, talented players. So I think it's probably a smidge better than that title team.
Yeah, I just don't think. I think Kerr is kind of trying to figure out a way to get Clay to come off the bench, but that's so tough to do because it's like the Splash Brothers.
Yeah.
But then Moody's been playing so well, and then he got 3 DNPs. It's like I don't know what's going on.
That was odd. Yeah.
So,
and now he's complaining. Kuminga said what he said allegedly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think I'm more with you that I think they got the players that can compete in the playoffs. It's just about putting it together. Obviously, the turnovers kill them, blowing leads, but like they're playing all these teams tough.
Yeah, they're up on teams by double digits, and they're losing all these leads. They're playing the most close games in the league.
Yeah,
they got to finish games
for sure.
And obviously, like Draymond will come back tomorrow. All right, so that's good. He's served his 12-game suspension, but he's got to get it right too.
He does.
Like, damn, Draymond, he's going to end up being a Hall of Famer. He was a Defensive Player of the Year. Like, obviously, he still plays great defense, and he's a voice in the locker room. But he's got to be there. He's got to be the voice. Like, that's part of it too. And obviously, we were still losing with Dre, but they got to get it together. It's the new year now. They got to turn it up, turn it on. Like, figure it out and just find a way to get in the playoffs because they could compete with any team in the NBA, really. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Denver they won the championship last year, but you just saw we can compete with Denver.
Yeah. Past 2 games, really, they were close.
Yeah. And, I mean, we lost to the Lakers last year, but you see what they're going through right now. They're in turmoil.
Yeah.
So it's like we got a chance to be a really good team, and they just got to put some wins together. Yeah. And they needed this Pistons win, which is really good. And they just need to start stacking them.
Yeah.
And get back to 500 and
yeah.
And then, start trying to get at least in the 7th, 8th seed. You don't want to end up in the tournament, but shoot, I'll take it.
I'll take it
in the tournament.
Yeah. So. Facts. And because they had that little stretch where they won some games, and I think then Draymond, that whole ordeal happened. So like, it's so much distraction, so much nonsense that is just holding them back.
Well, yeah, and then now Chris Paul broke his hand.
Yeah,
he's gonna be out. That's gonna hurt us. But then we got Dre coming back. It's like, damn.
Yep. And now there's the trade rumors, of course. And the kids are unhappy, Moody and Kuminga. So we'll see. I'd like to just see them put it together and organically just kind of compete in the playoffs. I really love Trace Jackson Davis.
Yep.
I think he finally gives them an athletic big. Also, Saric, having those two guys, I think that's going to be huge. If we had to see the Lakers again, we didn't have something like that last year. We just had Looney, who's great, and Draymond. But with those bodies, I think that'll give us a good chance, even in versus Denver, the champs. So we'll see. We will see.
We shall see.
All right, my brother. Well, I enjoyed this. We'll finish the show with a prayer, as we always do. And I didn't even mention. I'll mention it on Instagram, but Happy New Year to you all. So this is gonna be an exciting year. Looking forward to it. So, you got anything else?
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Cool. All right, quick little prayer, and y'all enjoy. Father God, I thank you for this interview today. I lift up my brother Jack to you. Thank you for the influence that he's had on so many others. Thank you that he's a light for you and your kingdom. I pray for my students that they would see him as an example as well of not only being a good influence, but overcoming peer pressure and the negative things that come at them. Help them to understand their identity and look to be a good influence on this society, Lord. We lift you up. All of this is for you. We love you. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Peace out.